Oh my goodness, you guys. It's blueberry time! You guys, if y'all missed the video as to how we acquired those blueberries, you guys can check it out right there. And but we've got some great ideas planned. So we're gonna put this together. We're gonna try to make it go as quick as possible. Rusty's got a project he's gonna be working on. I've got a project I'm gonna be working on, and we're going to utilize all these blueberries so that they don't go to waste, because it was hot picking them.
9,000 degrees.
So yeah, fresh blueberries. Let's see what we're gonna do. All right, y'all, I'm gonna start with a blueberry pie. This is a combination of two separate recipes. The pastry recipe, I really love this recipe. It is a little bit on the, not really difficult side, but there's a lot more components than my easy Grammy recipe that we will have to share with you at some point. The easy Grammy recipe is something to throw together when you're in a pinch and you're short on time. But this pastry, I used this exact recipe when we were making the cherry bacon pie for Lone Star Pioneering's, what was it?
Weird food challenge.
Weird food challenge or something. You guys, that is in our TikTok as well as our other channel, Robertson's Belly Acres. So I'm going to use that recipe, and then the filling is just something I found online. So we're going to see how this comes out. And instead of making an entire huge pie, we're going to make a whole bunch of small tarts, or not really tarts. They're going to be mini pies, because Rusty is diabetic and he doesn't need a whole blueberry pie sitting on the counter. So we're going to do it to where we can freeze some of our, freeze some of the pies. Hey, then it lasts longer.
Hey,
right?
But I'm here all day.
No, you can't thaw them all out. Oh. All right, you guys, so we're going to start with our 3 cups of flour. I do keep the flour in the freezer, but I have had it out for just a little bit, try to get it room temperature. Not real important, just what it is. 1.5 cups of sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and I'm just going to combine that. All right, so now it says to cut in my shortening. I do have a pastry cutter. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to use my Ninja that Cody bought me. My son bought me this. It does come with a pastry, or with a dough blade, I guess is what you call it. So it's plastic. So we're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to make the rest of the pastry in the Ninja. So like I said, I had the shortening inside the freezer just to get it nice and cold, keep it nice and cold, because when you're doing pastries, you want that nice flaky pastry, so you want your fat to be nice and cold. So what I'm doing is I'm just dumping all of my dry ingredients in there. Thank you, Rusty. And I'm going to dump this in here. See how it's nice and broke up and cold. All right, so I'm going to turn the power on. There's a pulse option. If you don't have a Ninja, you guys, these things are so super powerful. It doesn't take much at all, but look how beautiful that is. It's just perfect. There might be some bigger chunks in there, but we might pulse it a couple of more times. So I didn't realize that my camera wasn't working when I was mixing the rest of this, but I just took the flour mixture out of the food processor, and then I mixed all of my wet ingredients, and then I slowly added my flour mixture to the wet ingredients until I had a nice dough. And then here I'm just making 2 dough balls and wrapping them up in wax paper, and I'm just going to stick them in the freezer or in the refrigerator so that they can solidify a little bit. All right, so over medium heat, we're going to combine our sugar and our cornstarch. So this is for the filling. I guess we didn't even talk about the filling ingredients. So it's 3/4 of a cup of sugar and 3 tablespoons of cornstarch, and then we're just going to add just like a pinch of salt. Come on. So just like a pinch of salt and a 1/4 cup of cold water. Now you guys, I stuck this water. It's been so hot here in Northeast Oklahoma that I wanted my water to be really cold, because from the tap it's pretty it's been pretty hot, so I wanted it to be cold. Well, I stuck it in the freezer. Our freezer must be working really well because it froze. It had a thin layer of ice on it. So it should thaw out a little bit here though. I'll just keep, see there's just a little tiny bit in there. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. But, sorry.
It's okay.
There we are. Look at all that ice. So basically we're just making a simple syrup here. We did add in cornstarch to thicken it a little bit, so then that way when we add in the blueberries, we get that nice thick pie filling texture and not, or consistency, and not just, you know, watery blueberries. So we're just going to do this until it's nice and smooth, which looks pretty smooth. Guys, so you see that's pretty smooth. You want to keep an eye on it because it is sugar. It can burn to the sides. But we're going to add 3 cups of fresh blueberries. Now, looky here. We've got all varieties of blueberries. We switch to a spatula there. We picked some pink lemonade blueberries and what, Rusty, legendary
Champion, and there were, oh, I don't know, there were so many different.
Blue Jays, I think. Y'all, if y'all have never tried these pink lemonade blueberries, they are absolutely amazing. I mean, just
You'll
so
never know
good.
you had a blueberry in your mouth by eating it.
Yeah, Rusty's not big on blueberries, but man, picking them fresh is a whole different ball game. So what we're going to do with this is we're just going to leave this to cook. I probably put a lid on it so that it can get to a boil faster, but I'm going to bring it to a good boil and then we'll move on from there. All right, you guys, so this is cast iron. It does not take long once I put the lid on it for it to start boiling. So look at that pretty color. There's that blueberry color that we're all just used to seeing. So it's not to a rolling boil yet, but I just want to bring it to a boil. When I opened the lid a while ago, it was really going. Again, this is all on medium heat. You don't want to turn it up too high because you can scorch that sugar and then you just have a big old mess. Let's see how it's starting to boil. Can you see that right there? Mm-hmm. Just right in those edges. Look at that. See that?
Yes.
All right. So what we're going to do, we're going to let that come up all the way around. See how it's just coming up all the way. We just need it to be right here. Let's get that centered on the heat first and foremost, huh? All right, so now we've got a good boil. I'm gonna set my timer for 2 minutes. And while it's boiling, I'm just gonna kind of mix it. Kind of folding it. I don't want to pop a whole bunch of those. They're going to pop with the heat anyway, but I don't want just mush. Stir it, bring it to a boil. Scrape the sides. Make sure you're scraping the sides. You don't want that sugar to scorch. Scraping all the sides, scraping the bottom. Got this good rubber spatula here. That works really well for it. Cook for a minute. See, that's starting to congeal at the bottom, so you really want to be stirring. Really don't want that sugar to scorch. I'm going to start turning down that heat a little bit because I don't want that to scorch. See how it's kind of congealing there at the bottom. I don't know if you can see that. Is it too hot? I'm going to turn off that heat. My 2 minutes isn't up yet, but I'm really scared that it's gonna. Look at the thickness of that. That's beautiful. Okay, 3 seconds to spare, good enough, because, all right. So now we've got that beautiful, beautiful, look how thick that is. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put in a tablespoon of butter. We're just gonna stir that around till it melts. And something you always want to pair with blueberries or cherries. You know, you've got all of this sugar, you guys, so dump in just a little bit of lemon juice. That's a tablespoon of lemon juice. Mix that all together. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that color, Rusty. Scrape the sides, scrape the bottom. Okay, so now we've got that mushed down a little bit. So to bring the pop, we're gonna add 2 more cups of blueberries, fresh blueberries, and that is gonna make a beautiful pie filling where when you take a bite, you're still biting into those blueberries. Just having those pop in your mouth is just gonna be beautiful. All right, so guess what? Our blueberry compote is done. I'm gonna go ahead and dump it over here because, like I said, this is cast iron. It's what is that called, Rusty?
Enamel.
Yeah, enameled cast iron, and so it holds the heat really well, which is awesome when you're cooking. But when you need something to go ahead and cool off, you want to get it out of that pot because otherwise it's just going to sit there and continue to cook. Look at that. All right, well, we're going to set this aside to cool while we go ahead and grab our pastry dough out and see if it's ready to rock and roll. All right, you guys, so I got my pastry dough out of the freezer. Got some flour on my rolling out surface here so that we could get a good flaky pastry. So I'm gonna roll this out about a quarter, maybe an 1/8 of an inch thick. Let's see if you guys can see that. And like I said, we're gonna be making mini little tarts. So I'm gonna use a wide mouth canning ring, and I'm just gonna cut these out. Now I don't have miniature pie dishes. The little pie dishes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make double layer little pies. So that's 1 pie there, 2, 3 pies total, which is perfect. And I still have another pastry in the freezer. I know I have a pastry scraper somewhere which would work perfect here, but a spatula works just as good. Gonna lay that there. Get 3 of them on there. Kind of push them out a little bit. Then I'm going to take a tablespoon. I don't even know if I can put a tablespoon on there. I'm going to take about a tablespoon of my pie filling. Put a little bit there in the middle. I want to leave enough room all the way around it to be able to seal it. So now I'm going to take these top ones. Before I put them on there, I'm going to go ahead and cut little holes in the tops of them. Just kind of make a little hole, because I think it'd be easier than trying to do it once it's on the pie. Make sure they're breathing holes all the way through. I'm going to lay that on top. Oop. That one kind of fell apart. Let's push that one back together. I want to make them a little bit bigger anyway. And then we're going to make the little holes. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take just a regular fork and we're going to go around and crimp that pie together. Hard to do with the edges of the pan. Pop. I don't know if you guys can see that. Crimped together. Now for the little ugly pie. Crimp. That middle one's pretty sad, but there you go. I'm going to continue to do this until I get all of my pie dough used up, and then I'll come back for the next step. All right, you guys, so they're not the prettiest. I got some egg whites here. I'm going to whip up a little bit. I usually add a little bit of water, but I think these are just fine. And then I still got some pastry dough right there that I'll mess with later. But this is like 6 of them fit, so we're gonna bake these, okay? I want that good golden crust on the top. All right, so there we go. We got them covered pretty good. All right, so now we're just gonna take just a little bit of sugar and we're just gonna sprinkle that on top. I mean, 1 teaspoon for all 6, not even a whole teaspoon for all 6. So plenty. Now we're gonna pop this in the oven at 425 degrees for, I don't know, we're gonna have to keep an eye on it. I'm gonna try 15 minutes and then we'll just kind of go from there. But while these are baking, we're going to go see what Rusty's been working on, because he's got a whole project for us with the rest of the blueberries. I do, like I said, I do have more pie dough and a lot more pie filling, but I may just make a small pie and stick it in the freezer. We'll see. But let's go see what Rusty's doing.
Okay guys, so what I'm gonna work on tonight with the rest of these blueberries is we're gonna make a blueberry jalapeno barbecue sauce. So it's gonna take, let me see if you can see this up here. There's gonna be 5 cups of blueberries, 1 cup of, it says white balsamic vinegar. We couldn't find white balsamic vinegar, so I just got balsamic vinegar. We're not really picky about that. A teaspoon of kosher salt, 2 small jalapenos. We like it a little bit spicier than other people do, so we're going with, I think I got 3 or 4 small jalapenos. 4 tablespoons of red onion, roughly chopped. 6 tablespoons of honey, 6 tablespoons of ketchup, 4 cloves of garlic, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, and a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire. That stuff. So we're gonna start out, we're gonna put 5 cups of blueberries right here in our pot. Use up all those. We're gonna dump our 8 ounces of balsamic vinegar. That'll get you smelling good. 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. Like I said, we've got, it calls for 2 jalapenos, small jalapenos. I've got 3 small ones here. We're gonna put those in there. And it says to have them chopped. We're not gonna chop them right now. We're gonna wait, and we're gonna use the immersion blender so we can chop all that at once. Red onion and 4 cloves of garlic. Oop. Our honey. Thank you, Rachel. She takes care of me, you guys. And get all that scraped in there. All that sweet goodness.
I like that this is sweetened with honey.
Yes, it's sweetened with honey. Okay, and now we're going to put in 6 tablespoons of ketchup. Like our honey didn't sweeten it enough. We've already got our garlic in there. We're going to dump in our 2 teaspoons of chili powder, one of our favorite parts, and our 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce.
We may have to add more of that.
We'll have to give that a good mix real quick.
It smells interesting. It's not cooking yet. So.
Yeah, it's not cooking yet, but it does have an interesting smell to it. All I can smell is the vinegar. All right, so we've already got our stove lit, so we'll go ahead and turn around here and get this put on the fire. And there we go. We've got that sit there. This, it says we're gonna take this and we're gonna, on medium-high heat, bring to a boil, then immediately turn the heat down to a simmer. This is the power boil setting, or burner, so it doesn't really simmer. So as soon as it gets to boiling, we're gonna slide it straight back. I've already got this smaller burner going, and we're gonna slide it back on that burner to simmer. I think like Rachel did, I'm going to take it, since this is a cast iron pot, throw a lid on it, and let her go for a minute. Okay,
and my
guys.
pies are done.
So this says to, now that we've got it to a boil, to take it immediately to simmer. We've got it back there simmering. And we're gonna let it sit here and we're gonna stir occasionally and keep it simmering for 15 minutes or until the berries start to break down. So we'll be back.
Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they smell good.
Those smell delicious. These look amazing.
Ooh, I gotta turn off this oven. It's so hot in here. This one looks like he's frowning.
This one looks mad.
Yeah. They're not the prettiest. But what we decided to do with the rest of it, because it is getting late and we're tired, we gotta go to work tomorrow, is went ahead and put this in a quart jar, and I added 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I've already cleaned the rim off. I'm gonna go ahead and put a lid on it. And then tomorrow, Rusty's going to water bath can it, so then that way we can save it for later. And I put the rest of the pastry dough in the freezer. But we'll try these here in just a little bit after Rusty's done with his stuff.
Okay guys, so our timer just went off. It says to remove from heat. We're gonna turn the heat off. And I'm gonna slide this pot right across the stove over here to a cool burner. It says let it cool slightly before blending. So it's already starting to break down. The berries are starting to break down in it good. So we're gonna let it cool off for maybe 5 minutes, and then we'll get the immersion blender and see what we got. Let's slide it back over here so we can reach it a little easier. There it is. I mean, it's good and warm. It's all broke up real good. Now we just gotta let it cool.
I want to taste it. It's hot.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that's got
crazy.
heat and so good. It's sweet.
Sweet, got just a little bit of heat to it.
It's a little bit too vinegary for me. I would probably add a little bit of,
You probably need to add a little bit of sugar to it.
maybe some brown sugar or, you know, just something. But it's good.
Yes.
I don't know, on like as a meat marinade, I think that would be amazing because those blueberries are so sweet.
Yeah. Well, and the vinegar will help in a marinade. That'll really
Yeah.
help
Infuse
tenderize, infuse it. So yeah, we're gonna let it sit right here like this. We'll let it sit there and cool off and get it put in jars here in just a minute.
Okay, so we got the ugly one that we're gonna try, y'all. I was taking this off of the cooling rack, and look at this crust. I mean, just falls to pieces. I don't know. We'll see. You ready? We're gonna kind of cut into this. Oh, there you go. That was perfect.
That crust is so flaky.
It's flaky. What a flake.
Oh.
Ooh, it's still hot.
Mm.
I took too big of a bite. Now I got all
It's
this
mine.
pastry in my mouth. Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, bomb, baby. That's amazing. That dough crust came out really flaky, just like you wanted it.
It's a little salty for me.
It does. You can taste the salt in a little bit, but it's not bad.
I guess my pinch of salt was a little bit like a pinch and a half. It was pinch of salt.
Pinch, not a pinch.
It was pinch of salt.
Pinch of salt.
Okay, if you're Mexican, you get it. All right. So,
Those
Rusty's.
blueberries are amazing.
Oh man, I could eat that by the spoonful, just blueberries. We needed some ice cream or something to go with it, but Rusty made a bomb blueberry barbecue sauce, maybe marinade, or even just as a barbecue sauce. I think it's gonna be great.
Yes.
And he's gonna go ahead and can that tomorrow.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. And you know, pies came out all right. I think I'm gonna freeze them. And then
4 of them anyway.
yeah, I might take one to work
3
with
of
me.
them. Oh,
I might just leave them on the counter and see what happens.
oh yes.
No, you can't have them all. I'll be getting alerts. Your blood sugar's high.
No.
And then we, you know, we're gonna put up 1 jar of blueberry pie filling as
Yeah.
well. So that's all those blueberries. That uses up all of those blueberries. None of them went to waste.
Not a single one went to waste. A lot of them went in our bellies before we made anything. But hey,
You know.
it was time. It was an experience we'll never forget.
Yeah, because it was so darn hot.
It was amazing, though.
It was. I'm glad we did it because we almost said, oh, we'll wait for a later date. And we showed up and it was the last day to pick.
Last day of picking, yes, for this 2022 season.
Yep.
But we'll be going back.
Yeah.
Have to pick a cooler day next year
Way cooler day.
And
Which
take-
we're going to be going this fall, hopefully.
and take more help.
Who wants to go? Let's go blueberry
Let's go.
picking.
Picking and a grinning.
All right, you guys. Till next time.
See ya.